At 4:48 p.m. on a quiet fall afternoon in Chicago's South Side, a black Chevy slows to a stop at the red light on 76th and Vincennes. Inside sits 26-year-old Ariana G. Ari Carter, a rising rapper and mother, her child strapped safely in the back seat. Within seconds, another vehicle pulls alongside. A burst of automatic gunfire shatters the calm. 15 shell casings hit the ground. By the time police arrive, G. Ari is barely breathing. She's rushed to the hospital but pronounced dead at 5:27 p.m. Her son survives. The shooter vanishes without a trace. No arrests. No suspects. Days earlier, another rapper was gunned down, and whispers say G. Ari knew too much. The city talks. The streets go silent. And a story of music, betrayal, and retaliation begins to unfold. One that will test where loyalty ends and survival begins. Every case starts with evidence and ends with truth. We examine facts, not theories, details, not drama. This is Sunday Crime, where investigations speak for themselves. Subscribe now and stay updated as we uncover the facts behind every case. Ariana Carter was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, an area known for its deep cultural identity and persistent socioeconomic struggles. Her early years were spent in the Englewood and Auburn Gresham neighborhoods, communities often defined by tight family bonds but marred by unemployment and gun violence. Ariana grew up in a single-parent household, surrounded by relatives who emphasized resilience and self-reliance. During her school years, she was known for her strong personality and creative streak. She participated in talent shows and local events that showcased her natural rhythm and poetic instincts. Exposure to Chicago's music culture came early. Neighborhood block parties, freestyle battles, and church choirs were all part of her environment. However, as she got older, the divide between creativity and survival became more visible. The same streets that inspired her art were also breeding grounds for crime and instability. The socioeconomic conditions around her upbringing were harsh. Local schools faced funding shortages, and access to safe recreational spaces was limited. The city's homicide rate fluctuated yearly, but the South Side consistently carried a heavy share of the burden. In this context, Ariana's attraction to music was both an escape and a voice, a way to assert her identity in a city that often silenced young black artists before they could rise. By her early 20s, Ariana adopted the stage name G. Ari, a nod to her neighborhood nickname and her growing confidence as a rapper. She entered the Chicago drill scene, a raw, street-center form of rap, known for its aggressive tone and connection to local realities. Drill was more than music. It was a coded language of alliances, rivalries, and reputation. G. Ari's songs, including Want All the Smoke and Not My Problem, reflected recurring themes in her environment: self-defense, betrayal, and perseverance. Her lyrics hinted at both empowerment and awareness of constant danger. She began uploading music videos and freestyle clips on YouTube and Instagram, gaining traction for her direct delivery and fearless approach. Collaborators describe her as focused and strategic. She balanced her music career with raising her young son, often bringing him to the studio when childcare fell through. She was navigating a male-dominated industry that rewarded toughness but punished vulnerability. Her association with known figures in the Chicago drill circuit expanded her visibility, but also her exposure to the risks embedded in that culture. Ariana's relationship with Antonio, 757 BA, Dickerson connected her more directly to the inner circles of drill affiliations. Dickerson, a rapper linked to the 757 set, was reportedly serving time for murder and attempted murder charges. Their relationship was marked by loyalty, but the association brought scrutiny and gossip online. Those close to Ariana describe her as ambitious and fearless. She had plans to push beyond local fame and establish herself as a legitimate artist outside Chicago. Yet, in the same circles where loyalty was praised, it could also be used as a weapon. She was aware of the politics surrounding her name, but the full extent of what that meant would not surface until her final days. Drill rap originated in Chicago in the early 2010s, spearheaded by artists like Chief Keef, Lil Durk, and King Von. The genre's realism connected deeply with young listeners, but also blurred the line between entertainment and actual conflict. Lyrics often referenced street allegiances, rivalries, and losses. As the music spread beyond Chicago, so did its controversies. Accusations of promoting violence and retaliation followed nearly every release. For many artists, drill was both a career and a coded reflection of their lived experience. Within this ecosystem, female rappers were rare. They faced objectification, threats, and the constant need for male protection. Ari was among a small group of women pushing through this environment, earning respect in an industry where credibility came at a cost. The South Side's layout, Englewood, Auburn Gresham, and Roseland, forms a web of territorial divisions. Gun violence remains high, and cooperation with police is often low. Surveillance cameras at intersections, yet witnesses frequently fear retaliation. In such neighborhoods, street rumors move faster than official statements, and narratives form within hours of any incident. Ari's reputation was that of a woman holding her own in a male-dominated scene. Some respected her drive. Others saw her rising visibility as a threat. She was aware of gossip linking her to multiple factions, but her online posts rarely addressed it directly. In the weeks before her death, subtle warnings appeared on social media. Cryptic messages and indirect comments suggesting tension around her name. On October 25, 2025, Devin Shaw, THF Bezu Collier, an affiliate of Lil Durk's Otia Collective, was gunned down in Little Village, reportedly while buying auto parts. His death sent shockwaves through Chicago drill community. Street narratives quickly formed, and speculation flooded social media. Within hours, some bloggers began suggesting that Ari had dropped his location. No verified evidence supported this claim, yet it gained traction across Instagram pages, YouTube channels, and street forums. The rumor became the dominant narrative despite the lack of police confirmation. Reconstructed timelines indicate that Ariana spent her final 2 days engaged in routine activity. She was seen running errands, spending time with her son, and reportedly visiting a studio. No public signs of fear or distress appeared in her posts, but friends later recalled she seemed unusually quiet. Digital timestamps show that the night before the shooting, she uploaded a story to Instagram, likely from her residence or a friend's location. On the morning of October 27th, she exchanged text messages regarding her music plans. By mid-afternoon, she was driving to the South Side with her son, unaware that she might be under surveillance. At approximately 4:48 p.m. on October 27, 2025, Ariana's vehicle, a black Chevy Cruze, stopped at the intersection of 7600 South Vincennes Avenue in Chicago's Auburn Gresham area. It was daylight, traffic moderate. Nearby drivers reported hearing a burst of gunfire before realizing shots were being fired into her car. A dark-colored sedan pulled up beside her on the driver's side. The shooter opened fire, approximately 15 rounds discharged in under 5 seconds. Witnesses described shattered glass and a vehicle speeding off westbound. Ari sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the torso and neck. Her child, seated in the back seat, was physically unharmed. Multiple 911 calls were made immediately after the gunfire. Chicago PD and emergency medical services arrived within minutes. Ariana was transported to University of Chicago Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead at 5:27 p.m. The child was placed in temporary protective custody, pending contact with family. Investigators recovered 15 9mm shell casings. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses was requested, though no official video has been publicly released. The shooter's vehicle remains unidentified. Ballistic analysis results have not been shared with the public, and no suspect have been formally charged. Witness cooperation has been limited. Residents in the area described the scene as chaotic, with vehicles braking abruptly after the gunfire. The attack was swift and precise, suggesting premeditation rather than random violence. A quiet intersection on Chicago's South Side. Late afternoon traffic. A 26-year-old mother sits behind the wheel, her young child in the back seat. A car pulls up beside hers. Gunfire erupts. Within seconds, her vehicle drifts forward, colliding softly with another at the red light. Witnesses scatter. Cameras catch fragments, flashes, silhouettes, and fleeing taillights. When first responders arrive, the woman is unresponsive. Her child survives, unharmed but forever changed. The name soon circulates online. Ariana G. Carter, a local artist known in Chicago drill music scene. Police call it a targeted hit. Bloggers label it retaliation. Social media calls for justice. Yet beneath the noise, one truth remains. No arrests, no closure, no peace. This is not an isolated crime. It's part of a pattern that defines Chicago's underground music landscape. This investigation attempts to piece together what happened and why. Chicago Police Department, CPD. Records confirm that on the evening of October 27, 2025, officers responded to a shooting on the 7600 block of South Vincennes Avenue. The victim, later identified as 26-year-old Ariana G. Ari Carter, was found with multiple gunshot wounds inside a vehicle. Her small child, secured in a car seat, was physically unharmed. Detectives on scene immediately ruled out random violence. The precision, timing, and location suggested intent. A preliminary statement described it as a targeted attack. Investigators withheld suspect information, citing the early stage of the case. No arrests were made that night. No suspects were publicly named. The official police report classified the matter as a homicide under active investigation. By morning, the story began circulating on local social media pages, often ahead of official confirmation. Within hours, speculation outpaced verified facts. Detectives initiated a full-scale canvass of the area. Surveillance footage. Officers collected video from nearby intersections, convenience stores, and CTA cameras along South Vincennes. Footage captured two vehicles of interest, one believed to belong to the victim, and another suspected to be connected to the shooter. The second vehicle was described as a dark-colored sedan with tinted windows, license plate unknown. Witness interviews. Several individuals at the scene were approached for statements. Most declined to cooperate, citing fear of retaliation. A handful provided brief, vague descriptions of the suspect vehicle, but could not confirm occupants or direction of escape. Digital evidence. Investigators examined Ariana's phone, direct messages, and call history. Logs from the 48 hours preceding her death were extracted for review. Authorities declined to disclose findings but confirmed ongoing forensic analysis. Investigators also reached out to community sources familiar with Ariana's connections in the music industry and her personal life. Those interviews revealed conflicting narratives about her relationships and recent disputes. Within days, online discussions expanded beyond verified facts. Bloggers and independent commentators speculated the shooting was retaliation for the recent killing of a local rapper known as Bezu, whose death occurred 2 days prior. Unverified claims suggested Ariana had leaked his location to rivals, a claim lacking any official substantiation. Detectives refused to confirm or deny any connection to that case. CPD officials publicly stated that social media speculation is not part of the evidence record. Despite the absence of proof, online misinformation became widespread. Posts and videos alleging insider knowledge generated hundreds of thousands of views. False narratives spread faster than investigators could respond. This created obstacles for witnesses and family members, many of whom fear being associated with competing street factions. Coverage remained largely confined to local blogs, gossip outlets, and small regional news sites. No major national media organizations reported the story in detail. Chicago-based online pages released snippets of police scanner audio, unconfirmed eyewitness claims, and early photographs from the scene. In contrast, social media tributes surged. Hashtags such as hashtag Justice for Giari, hashtag RIP Giari, and hashtag Stop the Violence Chicago trended locally on Instagram and Twitter. Her music followers shared clips of her songs, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage. For many fans, it was the first time they connected her name with real-life violence, despite her lyrics often reflecting the dangers surrounding her. Public attention lasted several weeks before fading, replaced by new headlines and other unsolved murders. This remains the most widely discussed possibility. According to neighborhood rumors, Ariana was allegedly blamed for sharing sensitive information connected to the shooting death of rapper Bezu, a known figure within Chicago's drill scene. Street speculation claimed that a faction believed she played a role in exposing his location shortly before his death. 2 days later, she was killed. While the timeline aligns with those events, police never released evidence linking the cases. No official source confirmed communication between Ariana and anyone involved in Bezu's murder. Still, online posts by anonymous accounts fuel the belief that her death was a revenge killing, part of the continuous chain of retaliatory acts that define the city's underground conflicts. This theory remains unproven but persistent. Investigators also considered a personal motive. Ariana's known associations included members of her boyfriend's crew, 757BA, a name tied to local music and street affiliations. Some reports indicated tension between their circle and rival groups. Detectives examined whether internal disagreements, romantic, financial, or otherwise, could have escalated into violence. Sources suggested that Ariana may have experienced falling outs with associates over loyalty or reputation disputes. These leads were explored but not publicly confirmed. The complexity of relationships within overlapping music and street networks made it difficult to separate personal grievances from organized retaliation. Another angle involved competition within the music industry itself. As GRE's presence grew, some peers allegedly expressed resentment toward her growing recognition. Social media exchanges weeks before her death hinted at rivalries and indirect threats, though none explicitly named her. In drill culture, lyrical feuds and online confrontations sometimes blur the line between entertainment and real danger. Detectives reviewed her posts and messages for patterns indicating threats from professional rivals. While no conclusive evidence was released, the possibility of career-related jealousy was not ruled out. Given the public location and presence of a child, early observers wondered if the attack was random. Detectives quickly dismissed that scenario. The shooter's precision, the point-blank execution, and the timing, daylight at a red light, all indicated prior knowledge of the victim's movements. Police concluded the attack was deliberate targeting, not a crime of opportunity. Ariana's family released a brief public statement describing her as a devoted mother, daughter, and aspiring artist. They demanded justice and urged anyone with information to assist investigators. Her child was placed under the care of relatives. Details about custody remain private for safety reasons. Family members also criticized the spread of false online narratives, urging the public to allow investigators to determine facts. They attended a candlelight vigil at the intersection where she was killed, a symbolic gesture that drew local residents and musicians alike. The shooting sent shockwaves through Chicago's music scene. Other female artists spoke publicly about the dangers of navigating an environment where artistic expression overlaps with real street conflicts. Several local performers posted messages highlighting the vulnerability of women in drill music, emphasizing the lack of security and protection available to artists whose visibility attracts both admiration and hostility. For a brief period, Ariana's music stream surged as new listeners sought to understand the person behind the headlines. Still, fears of retaliation silenced many who might have spoken out. Few were willing to discuss her death on record. Community members organized vigils and marches calling for peace. Posters display her image and the words "Justice for GRE" appeared across South Vincennes. Online petitions urged the Chicago Police Department to increase transparency and prioritize her case. Activists cited her death as an example of systemic neglect toward young black women caught in cycles of urban violence. Despite public demand, official progress appeared stagnant. Months later, no new information was released. CPD officials described the case as open and ongoing. No new suspects were announced. No weapon was recovered. Reporters who requested updates were told that detectives were following up on multiple leads. Community trust remained low. Residents expressed frustration that yet another case involving a local artist had gone unsolved. Over time, media coverage faded, leaving only sporadic mentions on social platforms. The case became one more entry in the city's long list of unresolved homicides. Ariana Carter's death highlights the gendered risks within a predominantly male and often violent subculture. Female artists in drill music navigate exposure to threats while facing limited support from labels or law enforcement. Their social media presence makes them both visible and vulnerable. Her case underscores how the same platforms used for promotion can become instruments of surveillance and targeting. The suspected connection to another artist's death illustrates a repeating pattern, one shooting triggering another, forming an endless chain of retribution. In many cases, retaliations are based on rumor rather than verified involvement. Yet, once violence begins, perception becomes justification. This cycle continues because of digital amplification, online taunts, coded messages, and viral videos transform disputes into public challenges. In the absence of verified facts, misinformation flourished. Unverified blogs and YouTube channels produced narratives for views, not accuracy. These distortions blurred public understanding of the case, complicating genuine investigative efforts. The spread of unconfirmed street sources hindered witnesses who fear being labeled informants. This environment eroded credibility on all sides, between police, the press, and the community. Amid the noise, the most enduring detail remained simple. A child survived. Ariana's son, too young to comprehend the event, is a living reminder of the violence that claimed his mother. Her music, songs released under the name Giari, now stands as a fragment of her identity. Lyrics once reflecting ambition and resilience have taken on new meaning. The legacy left behind is incomplete but enduring, a story interrupted. As of the latest available information, the case remains unsolved. No suspect has been arrested or publicly identified. No ballistic matches have been announced linking the shooting to other cases. Detectives continue to review digital evidence, though updates have been minimal. The case file remains active within Area 1 Homicide Division. Residents near the scene remain reluctant to speak. Many believe coming forward could endanger their families. The result is a cycle where silence protects lives but obscures truth. Distrust between the community and police further limits cooperation. Anonymous tips have been few and unverifiable. Who ordered the hit? Was it tied to the retaliation narrative or a private dispute? Did digital messages hold key evidence that remains unreleased? Were there unseen surveillance angles that captured the shooter's identity? Until those questions are answered, the case sits unresolved, suspended between speculation and silence. Final visuals depict G.R. performing in dimly lit studio sessions, intercut with the intersection at dusk, flashing blue and red lights fading to black. Her child's laughter echoes faintly over the final frames. Voiceover. A mother, a musician, a target. Her story is one among thousands, but one that demands answers. Screen text. Case status. Unsolved. If you have information, contact Chicago Police Department Area 1 detectives. Maintain strict objectivity. No emotional narration. Present only verified. Attributed facts. Include on-screen disclaimer. Some accounts originate from social media and remain unverified. Prioritize factual accuracy. Cross-check CPD records, autopsy documentation, and local news confirmations. Visual assets. Crime scene tape, street surveillance frames, map overlays tracing a route, archive social posts. Avoid exposing private family or child identities. Facts verified. Case concluded. Justice is found in what remains proven. This is Sunday Crime. Until the next investigation. Subscribe for more verified stories and real criminal investigations.